Hey, I'm Scott, and I'm in Thailand, and I got some things I'd like to talk about. Mainly, I'd like to talk about the Phuket Sandbox, the opening that is going to happen in approximately, well, a little under 3 weeks. It's supposed to happen on July 1st. Supposedly, it will happen, and I think the people in Phuket are desperate for the opening to happen, not only to garner the foreign revenue that's coming in, the tourist revenue, tourist dollars, but also so that the people in charge can save face. They've made it a point for months now to say July 1st, July 1st, July 1st, and there are some who actually doubt it's the right thing to do. However, they seem hell bent on opening up, and I don't doubt really that they'll open. However, they're opening, and they have stated publicly, the people in charge have stated publicly that the bars, the clubs, the pubs, the entertainment venues are going to be shut. How long is anybody's guess? It may be temporary, short term. I don't know, and they haven't stated. But Patong is the busiest area in Phuket, busiest area on the island, and it's chock full of entertainment venues, whether they be beer bars, go-go's, clubs, pubs, whatever. And these places are still going to be shut down. And I've been to Phuket uh, during this pandemic. I went a couple months ago, and the place was just dead. I mean, for me, when I went there, it was difficult to even find places that I wanted to eat, and like I was desperate. I was like, "Wow, maybe I'll just have some Burger King." Burger King was closed. I ended up eating in an Italian place and eating off the street, street food, which is fine, but it wasn't like I had ample choices, an ample number of choices. And this is just it's just one thing after another. This is just one part of the problem that this pandemic has caused, and I'm sure that the people have the uh, right intentions. Now, the Phuket governor and the authorities there are allowing people to come in, but only to approved hotels. And in addition to their pre flight swab, their COVID test, they have to have 3 tests while they're in Phuket. And they can't leave the island for 14 days. Now, listen, Phuket's a great place, and I'm sure you can pass the time for 2 weeks. I'm an expat, and 2 weeks in Phuket seems like a long time. I don't live there, and there are people there that may love it, and they may go there and they love it, and maybe they will come and they'll stay for the 2 weeks and they won't have a problem with it. But I think the vast majority of people don't like being told you can't go anywhere. You need to stay on this island. You cannot go outside of the boundaries. Now, there was some talk about maybe having some kind of a deal where the tourists could spend 1 week in Phuket and then fly directly to Koh Samui, and then they have to stay 1 week there, and then after that they can go anywhere in Thailand. You can go anywhere in Thailand if you want to stay longer than 2 weeks. Now, if you don't want to stay longer than 2 weeks, then you're only going to be allowed to stay in Phuket. You are limited to staying in Phuket. Um, the Tourism Authority of Thailand boss Yuttasak is expecting 129,000 visitors from July 1st to September 30th. That leaves October, November, and December, 3 more months. Last I heard, uh, the number of expected tourists is 3 million. That's by the end of the year. I don't really think that's going to happen. I really hope it does, for the sake of the Thais who really need to get back in business and start working, but I don't think it's going to happen. These strict measures really, they're meant to keep people safer. Not only the visitors, the foreign visitors, but also Thai people who are being vaccinated. Apparently 50% of the people have been vaccinated last I looked, which was earlier today. But it really does little to bolster tourism when you close the bars, close the clubs, close the pubs, the entertainment venues, and there's no alcohol served while dining. I know, as someone who lives here, that this rule is skirted. But imagine you're just you're an elderly guy and you're with your elderly wife, and you come in and you just want a glass of wine. You can't have it unless somehow somebody slips you a little wine in a teacup or a coffee cup or something like that. And then, that just is not, it just doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. I don't know if they didn't think this out properly, if they're just trying to do anything to get the tourists to come back. But this whole thing is just a fiasco. It's been a fiasco from the beginning, not only in Thailand, but around the world. It's caused so many problems. And I don't even know what to say, but 3 million tourists expected in Thailand by the end of the year. Is it going to happen? I have my doubts. I really seriously have my doubts. I don't think it's going to happen. And along with all the other issues of just getting into the country, whether it be in Phuket or elsewhere, it's not easy. It's a huge pain. And, the thing with tourism and the thing with me in traveling is, if it's a massive, the more hoops you have to jump through, the more you have to plan, the longer it's going to take to plan things out, the more stressful it is. And if you're coming for a relaxing vacation just to get away for, say, a week or 2 weeks or a month, just the setting up and the logistics of everything is enough to stress people out, enough to say, I'm going to go elsewhere. That's my belief. And that's what, listen, 50% of people have canceled already. So what does that tell you? Guys in America are like, hey, I'm going to go to Brazil. I'm going to go to Mexico. I'm going to go wherever they can go. I'm just using these countries as examples. Mexico is a big one. But people are going elsewhere. Europeans, they don't want to go through this either. So I think until all of this gets squared away, and I don't know how long it's going to take, man, I could guess, and I'm just going to be guessing. That's all it is. If I said, the end of the year, I'd be guessing. That's all it is, a guess. It's my guess from the experience here. What I know is that the Thais generally implement things eventually. However, it takes them quite some time to get dialed in, to square things away, to get things done properly. And when you're bringing the news out, hey, you can come July 1st. And then you got tourists who are trying to set it up to where I want to go back to Thailand. And there are a lot of people like that. And then there's all these hoops to jump through, all these things to think about. After a while, you just go, I'm going to wait. And that's what I think the majority of people are going to do. Now is not a great time to travel. If you do happen to come here and you do want to take the opportunity to and jump through the hoops, do everything that they want you to do, then the good thing is there won't be as many tourists. Listen, I've been around Thailand during this pandemic, and there was virtually zero tourists. And the tourists that I bumped into, for the most part, were Thais. They were domestic tourists. So, like I said, 3 million tourists by the end of the year. Is it really going to happen? I have my doubts. Anyway, that's all I got. This is your daily commentary. For now, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok. Until next time, choke D, la jerk and my. That's good luck and see you later.